So what's new? What's fun out here?
I was going to ask you about Happy.
No, not talking about it.
Yeah.
Our storyline is going to be actually, I mean, for all the characters this year, when we came back from hiatus, we sat down for about 10 straight days, did nothing but work on character stuff. Because we really wanted everybody to have big arcs this year. I think our best stuff has always been the character stuff, the character reveals, and the characters. And so we really wanted everybody to have big moments. We've come up with, I mean, there's a lot of great stuff for everybody. The happy stuff is going to be going to really sort of dominate. There's a lot of great stuff. I mean, obviously we had a great revelation at the end of the season, which is going to be huge for the season this year, plus other revelations that are going to come out of that, and sort of big twists and turns that we normally don't do on the show. But they're going to be very organic to us, very sort of internal, and they're going to really reverberate for a long time. So, you know, her stuff is going to be very personal. I mean, obviously the marriage stuff is it's very personal, but an opportunity for Jaden to be very vulnerable, and you know, she's so good at that. When we give it to her, it's just not what the character is, but when we see it, you know, we saw it a few times last year in first season with her father, where she's so good that we're really excited to give her sort of more stuff, because that's going to be expanded upon tenfold going forward this year.
The stuff with the marriage, that's something you kind of sitting in the back wanting to bring out, or did it just kind of come about?
She just made it up. No. It's like, what? You are? You're crazy. That's not true. Leave it in. It was something, we pitched that out, I would say last third of the season, last year. We teed that up with the studio, because they were like, what? Who? We pitched out that storyline, and it was something that we were very excited about doing. And I think one of the real, the things that we started with on this show, going from pilot on, was like, how can we take these characters who have very distinct talents and detriments, like Sylvester, he's a germaphobe, and he's a phobe, he's an everything, he's a polyphobe. There's a word for it, I don't know, but quote me on that. But like, how can we take him and put him into what's the most uncomfortable situation we can be in? And how can we do that with Walter? How can we do that with all these guys? And quite honestly, how can we do that with what's happy? What's the thing that would just horrify her? And it's like having to admit to something she doesn't want to admit to and open up emotionally. And so there's going to be a lot of that this season. And that's really where it comes from. It's like, what would be, and I mean, last year it was like, we touched on it briefly, but it was like the comedy. Who's the last person you would think of to do stand-up comedy? And it's happy, and the jokes go towards them. They're terrible, but they're great. But that's where it sort of comes from, is how can we take these guys and torture them? Because they're so good at it. Once you do it, I mean, they're so wonderful. That you put them in situations, when you put them in a situation, they really shine. And that has been something, sort of the serendipitous thing we've learned a lot. Hope that answers it.
Can you talk about guest stars maybe that we'll see coming back from last season, like Scott or Kevin? We'll see maybe new people you have in mind.
Scott's coming back. We have Mark Collins coming back. We have other, I can't even really quite get it. We have other, sort of guest stars yet to be named, who yet to be hired, who are, going to be very close to the cast, who are going to be close to our main cast. We're going to delve into some more, we've delved into the parentage of pretty much everybody except for Paige, and that's going to be something that we want to go into coming down the line this season. So there's going to be some fun to be had for us. But those two guys, so far, those two coming back, Scott Porter's been great. It was great for us last year, and we're very excited to sort of be continuing with him for a number of episodes, and the Mark Collins character too. It's just so good. It's just so fun. It's just such a hit. So.
You talk about are there things now going into season 3 that you didn't think you could do before, but now that you're kind of comfortable in the 3rd season, that you're really introducing to the show this year?
So many things. I mean, honestly, the first, the emotional stuff being one of them. We learn, you learn as you go what the actor's strengths and weaknesses are, and we saw how much depth they could give to us along the way, and then conversely, some of them who we knew could give us depth, like Robert Patrick, gave us humor, and so we've learned how we can really exploit them so to such a greater extent than we thought we could, because we just didn't know. And then you see it, and you give it a little taste here and there, and you say, "Oh my God, Jaden's great at emotional stuff. She's phenomenal at emotional stuff." So let's heap it on her. Space. We didn't think we could go to space. The first season we did the comic book here. And I said, let's do the story in the comic book about space, because we're never going to be able to do that. And then last year, and it's like, so let's not burn an episode. And then last year we did a weightlessness episode, and I thought, wow, we can go to space. And so we saw that, and we were very involved, so we're doing that. Really, the emotions of within production too. We've seen them. We've shoved them into doing things that I think they were like, what are you doing to us? But they always pull it up. I mean, Antarctica at the end of season 1, we pitched, Santora, I should say, our line producer. It's like, I want to do something in Antarctica. And he was like, don't do this to me now. And it took us, and it was like, we're going to do it. We got to do it. And we did Antarctica on a soundstage. And it was phenomenal. I mean, it worked, I thought. It worked great. So, I mean, technically, emotionally, all that stuff we found ways to expand that we never thought we could do earlier. So it's been a lot of fun. It's sort of you can do. You're like, what's your imagination? What do you think? And we think of crazy stuff, and then they say, well, okay, well you can do that, but you can't do that. Do that. And they're all about. It's interesting that the team, production team, visual effects team, is like, it's not what can we do, it's what can we make look cool. And it's like, we can do that, we don't have the time to do it, but we can do this and make it look cool. That's been our education.
Do you think Scorpion is the reason the divers come back?
Yes. Bow down. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's certainly something. Like, to say that, they're piggybacking on us. I mean, we're piggybacking on the original. There's so much of the original that comes from, that is filtered into the work that we do. So I think that they're seeing the success of the fun of invention, the success of unlike the hero. I mean, to say, is it why? Maybe. But I know Len Kopp is an amazing showrunner and amazing. I think he's going to make a wholly original show. But please, the answer is yes, those bastards. Piggybacking on our brilliance. I hope they do.
So they said that you guys always have tons of ideas. So
no, we don't.
You're never
We barely have any ideas. But yes, okay.
You're never going to run out.
I feel like we're going to run out tomorrow. I mean, I will tell you what has been very heartening was over this break. Like the writing staff usually get about 6 weeks, 2 months off, because Nick Santora created the show, and we always write the last 2 episodes. So they're done before we're done. The production goes on. And what we asked of them this year is every 3 weeks they submit story ideas to us. And so by the time hiatus was over, we had about 150 ideas. And there was some crossover. There was a lot of crossover. Everybody pitched one, that had been in Wired or magazine, wherever it came from. But at the end of it, walking in the door, day one, we had 10 episodes. I mean, absolutely, no question, these are great story areas. We're going forward with these, and they have become what are going to be probably the first 10. Anytime there is a technological advancement that has any kind of moral implication, we can do it. Anytime there's something that is fascinating, that puts people into a situation, into a dangerous situation, where, you know, these guys can get into trouble, we can do it. That, to me, there's a limitlessness to, I mean, as much as there's a limitlessness to the technological advancement, there is a limitlessness to the show. We can always find new ways to get these guys in trouble in an interesting technological way, because it just keeps evolving. It keeps evolving, I mean, beyond us and past us, and there's things, that's how I see us. I see us being able to pull it off.
Do you build the episodes by finding that sort of technological thing that can be the problem, I guess, of the episode?
Or scientific,
and then building the emotional stuff and the character stuff on top of that?
Usually the first version. Usually we'll start with an area. I'll give you an example. A cave in New Mexico that's filled with bats that need a very special kind of who all have a certain kind of disease, and if they aren't saved immediately by our team with a certain kind of, we have to crawl into their cave and help them out, these bats, then there's great potential sort of ecological damage that can happen. Okay. We're actually doing this episode. Okay. Bats. Our guy's in a bat cave. Our guy's in a cave.
Sylvester's gonna love that.
What's that?
Sylvester's gonna love that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, how do we put Sylvester? How do we?
Because of course he's the one who's going to.
Of course, and it's like Sylvester saying bats are disgusting. Bats they carry like 9 different kinds of virus. They're walking and they're flying petri dishes, and Walter's like, no, bats are actually the second. They kill more pests than birds. They do this, that. They're all this. So there's this great scientific element to this thing, but really what they're doing is getting trapped in a cave. So it's like we have this venue which we can put them in, which we span over a number of different things. Is how do we get them into a scientific situation in which they can be brilliant and yet at the same time have an adventure. And that is, so it generally starts with an area, a locale almost, and then it's, or a concept. And then we sort of say, okay, how do we build the stuff in that we want to do emotionally with them around this? And then how do we, it's always easy for us, I would say, to carve out the stuff at the beginning of the episode, stuff at the end of the episode. How do you find that moment in the middle where they can actually stop while the world is ending and have a personal conversation about who Happy's married to? But we seemingly find a way to do it all the time. Usually it starts with a venue, an issue, a dilemma, a technological thing, and then we keep all that stuff together.